Hi everyone, this is for the assignment on how to create magazine cover. The sheet will be attached in the gradebook, which we're looking at here. So the assignment is to create two magazine covers in either Adobe Photoshop or using Photopea. The first will be a recreation of an existing magazine cover, which I will show you samples that previous students have done. The second one will be an original magazine cover, and that is where you just come up with your own idea. It can be about anything. You can use your own pictures. As always, you can use pictures off the internet, and it's really about learning the tools and techniques or using the tools and techniques that we've learned in class to create your own magazine cover. Look at a couple things. First thing you want to do is set up an 8.5 by 11 document. That's just a regular vertical sized sheet like we do for many projects in class. It's also helpful to label all of your layers. So if you need to go and find where a piece of text or a picture is quickly and turn it on and turn it off, that's helpful, especially if you have 10 or 15 layers. And some things to think about too with the magazine is high resolution images. Also, your magazine should have a logo or the title of the magazine. If you're doing your recreation, for instance, if you were doing People magazine, you could just grab their logo from the internet and place that on there. You might have to clean it up or erase if there's anything around there from a previous picture. Same thing with a main picture or illustration. You'd probably want to remove the background of that so you can put a background image or color or gradient behind it. Background image, adjusting opacity can be helpful with magazine covers. Also, many magazine covers have a barcode. You can download those online. When you use text, look at your colors, the type of font, and the size. Take a look. Okay, it looks like a scenic picture with mountains and some clouds in there. Now, I don't think she added anything to this background. She just grabbed the background and used it. While I would prefer that you used more images to go with it, this one actually works pretty good. A lot of things with magazine covers to keep in mind too is they're very basic. You don't need to put a lot of effects. You don't need to put a lot of pictures on there. Basic can sometimes be good. Now you see something interesting she did with the logo here. She just used a drop shadow with some basic text. And her layout's uniform. Everything's centered. Makes sense. She adds the barcode. So that one looks pretty good. That's something simple, but the design is really nice. Here's another idea. Taking a picture of Mr. Lane. And it looks like she did a green gradient background using a circular gradient. She added some shapes using different opacity in there. Also, her layout's very consistent, just like a traditional magazine cover you would see. She's got a barcode on there. She's got a white stroke around the green text here to make it pop a little more. And she also used a couple circle shapes in the background, lowering the opacity just to help give the text something to lay on top of. So that's another one. Okay, so here's one. This is the original cover. This was an actual magazine that was for sale. And this is the one that he created. So he didn't do it exactly. That's fine. He used a different subject for this, some different text. But he went and he probably grabbed this online, this logo. Looks like he did his own background. It looks like it's a gray gradient with a circular coming out down here. Has the picture, has the text. Like he copied everything about as close as he could. So that one took a little bit of work, just matching the fonts up, finding, making these little red lines here, these shapes. So that's a good example of a remake. So we have an original here. This is his remake. And it's actually her. This is the idea that she came up with. So a lot of really nice ideas here. Okay, so let's take a look let's do this in Photopea. We'll see how a magazine cover is laid out. I'm going to take one that I've already done. So if you're in photopea.com, you can go to File, Open, and mine was a Photoshop file already, which Photopea opens. So I'm going to click on my Photoshop file. Since it works online, give it a minute to scan it, and then I'll start pulling it apart layer by layer and just showing you how I started to put it together. And I think seeing this process pulled apart will make it a lot easier for you. So again, we have all of our layers over here. I'm just going to turn off. Whoops, still loading up. I'm going to turn off by clicking on the eye. Every layer, and then we'll put them back on so you can take a look at how this was built up. Alright, so I started with a blank sheet and I added a gradient to it using our gradient tool, which is right here. And then I went online and I grabbed a picture that had to do with this this movie, a James Bond movie. I grabbed this picture here, and it looks like I lowered the opacity to 54%. All that is just a regular text, so I put a stroke around it. If you double click here, you can see that there's a stroke on it. Bring that back on. Added some more text here. Found this picture of him online, and it looks like I put a stroke effect around him there. Turn that back on. Added some more text. What's this? This is a background shape. You can see the opacity is lower a little bit so you can kind of see through it. And put that shape on there just so you can see the text a little bit better. It gives it kind of a nice design element. And again, I just went through it and started adding different pieces of it. And looks like we have about 10 or 15 layers. And there you go. You got a magazine cover. So again, the layout doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to add a lot of effects. It's just more about placement of text. And again, using the strokes are helpful sometimes, using shapes to set your text on and get a feel for it. So the best way to do this is start out with a magazine cover that you want to copy. So say if it's something People magazine, create your blank sheet of paper, go on the internet, grab pictures that are similar, grab the logos, put it together, and then come up with your own idea like I did for this Bond magazine. When you're finished, save them all as JPEGs, create a new 11 by 17 sheet of paper, landscape, put them all on a sheet, save it as a JPEG, and turn it in. As always, if you have questions, email me and I can either call you or we can work through it online.